Exactly. Do you think this idea may come back, especially with the blockchain technology? We are hearing lots of startups coming from New
Yeah.
York City.
Um, I think that it would be nice, you know, a lot of times when an artist sells a painting, they get paid the first time on the primary sale, but then if it winds up being worth, you know, millions of dollars, they don't make anything off the resale. And so I wonder if blockchain technology could help them get paid some kind of royalty long term. I think would be a nice side effect of that implementation.
Actually, in New York State, the resale right exists technically, but it has not been applied, I believe.
I just know in the UK, I think in London, artists get a little cut of um,
About
the
2%.
resale at auction. Yeah, but um, I don't know. It would be exciting to see that happen. Um, I mean, the funny thing is, it's not that. I know it sounds crazy to imagine, you know, with blockchain or even like Bitcoin or any of that being involved in the art business, but art in itself is a faith-based business. Like the amount that it costs Richard Prince to make that good painting right there, the materials themselves are probably only worth, you know, $5, but we all agree that it somehow has this associative or creative value because it was made by Richard.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the new developments that may come up in the art market? What do you think, especially this VR, AR technologies, digital art, sharing not owning but sharing art, and uh, companies
I
around
mean, I
them?
do
What do you
think
think
that
about
in some ways, you know, art is like similar to Hollywood in the last century, in that you're seeing a lot of these artists become global stars, and that, like the studio system, maybe the gallery system will become less important, and it's more about the artists kind of driving the train. And I wonder, then maybe you would consider curators like directors or something. Whereas it used to be, there was a rigidity in Hollywood pre 1960s with the studio system where they would lock these actors into contracts and they couldn't do other movies. And so I think there's a lot more freedom for artists now. Um, but just because, like you were saying about galleries getting gobbled up by bigger galleries, same thing with artists. Like you could be a great artist and a terrible business person. So I think everyone should know what their strengths and weaknesses are.
So, do you think that, do you expect that galleries will share more of their artists? There will be shows, joint shows in the future. These kind of exchanges, you believe to happen?
I don't think so, because when an artist is very popular, galleries get very selfish, right? Nobody wants to share something that people usually only want to share if they need to help because they need support around that artist's career.
I see.
Um, I think in terms of like predictions for the art market, I think you're going to see people wanting some kind of return to quality, and I think also just people are going to want to see. I mean, they've always wanted, but people just want to see individuals' vision. And I think now maybe with the pandemic and the global situation, maybe people are going to want art that means something a little bit more than they have in the past.
So, do you think that there is a collector-based problem over there. I mean, is
Over
there
where?
any in the United States? Are
A
you worried about that?
collector-based problem? I think sometimes things wind up reinforcing themselves in a way that narrows the market. So, if a few artists have a lot of attention, then the let's say you're a dealer and you have 12 artists and 3 of the artists have a lot of attention, people might be inclined to then bring those artists to an art fair, and then the art advisors want those artists from that gallery, and it winds up narrowing the focus in a way that I think makes the art world less interesting.
So then the role of the gallery is to stick to the artists which are less in demand. That's the
No,
gallery's
I think that
responsibility.
that that gallery should be chasing ideas and not money.
So Half Gallery is a very avant-garde gallery, right? I observe
I mean,
like
I
that.
appreciate that. I don't know. We're trying to keep the lights on too.
Very avant-garde, and trying to break the rules. That's I how I observe. And um, you try to be you try to promote the long tail of the market. I mean, and you said that, and that confirms my observation. I'm very happy that I uh, I did the correct observation.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, because the success of Amazon is that they let lots of publishers, lots of small writers. I mean, writers with low visibility to have access to greater readers. And
Mhm.
same thing, these kind of galleries let the the list of artists to be long and long. Otherwise, if all the galleries turn around, same a bunch of artists, then the superstar effect will be emphasized, and the prices will go crazy, and not the art lovers will be out of the market, because I always believe that those who love art could be able to purchase, I mean, something, maybe
Mm.
not the most expensive one, but at least market should serve also to their taste. So and it's also part of the taste capital accumulation. Do you think in United States the school education, the art teaching or art lectures, lessons in starting from primary school, do you think they serve to this taste capital formation? Do you observe that in the
I
US
think a
market?
lot of times in art schools, they don't do a good enough job teaching the students the mechanics of the art market and kind of what to deal with in terms of practicalities of being a working artist. But probably a lot of people in the schools won't ever have that problem, unfortunately. So I think there should be an elective that gives you more um, straightforward business advice and examples of, if you want to make this bronze, probably the production cost is going to be, let's say, $3,000 if it's a foot long. And so if you want to make that in addition of 3 plus an AP, who will pay for that? Well, if the gallery pays for that, then maybe they're going to want you to make a PP, which is like a publisher's proof that they can have for having fronted that money. Or you'll do a 3-way split. So instead of traditionally doing a 50-50 money split with an artist and a dealer at a gallery, if you're doing a bronze, you might do the first third goes to pay back production, and then the other 2/3 are split by the dealer and the artist. So things like that that would be boring unless they really affected you as an artist or as a dealer. But I feel like you could learn some more practical advice in the same way that if you go to a liberal arts college for anything. I was a psychology major. They didn't teach me anything about like well, the rate structure for someone in private practice, you know, I think there could be a little bit more of a tangible mindset in a lot of areas of education.
Uh, how about your own collection? How you start collecting? I mean, how it started right from the beginning?
Um, I guess probably when I was writing about art, I would go to some galleries and I would see, oh, I can get this Chris Johansson drawing for $150, or I bought like a Tom Sachs handgun that his studio was selling these kind of like uh, fake. It's when he had his show of like luxury products, so he would have like a Prada Happy Meal, and they had like a Tiffany handgun that was made out of wood um, for like $50. So
When was it? When was it?
in the 90s. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's kind of like it should happen slowly over time. And I don't know if there's any one, I think only after you've been collecting for a while do you kind of um, feel like there's a focus in terms of what you respond to. Mostly, I have artists that I either am friends with or that I've shown or collaborated with in some capacity. So, you know, Rene Ricard, who's over my shoulder here, um, lived in the Chelsea Hotel. We did a show with him while he was alive. We've done several exhibitions posthumously. For people who don't know, Rene was also a writer and wrote an essay called Radiant Child about Basquiat. That was an art forum cover story and kind of launched his career. And then on this side, that's a Richard Prince good painting. This series of his almost looks like Robert Ryman paintings. And Richard's a friend. He's done two book covers for fiction that I've written, and I've done a catalog essay for a show that he had of his early joke paintings. And then again, we covered that Oscar painting in the corner. I did her first New York show, and she's now represented by Blum and Poe globally.
Unbelievable. By the way, I know that you're friends with Kenny Schachter. And what do you think about his auction, which will end today, actually?
Yeah, I went to go see him yesterday. I mean, I think it's a little bit of a tough spot. Usually people don't like when you buy their work and then sell it at auction. So I think he's definitely a provocateur. I know that I went and bid on the Rene Ricard that he had at his auction just because I own a lot of Rene and I like the piece and I want it to do well. I think it's tough because he's writing about the art world and then he's an artist himself, but then you're also selling work at auction. That I think that can be confusing for some people. That many individuals want there to be a purity in the art market that I don't think can really exist except as an ideal. Like I remember when I went to Marfa and they were showing us Donald Judd's studio, and he had some early Kusama pieces that he had bought that were in his studio, and they said, "Oh yes, well he bought these from the show of hers that he reviewed, I think for Art in America, or maybe it was Art News." And I thought, well, that's weird, like because
Really weird. It's really
now you wouldn't be able to buy work from an artist and then review the show. People would think of that as a conflict of interest. So I don't know. I mean, I think the art world needs characters for sure, and Kenny is one of them. And sometimes things like a David Zwirner can get very corporate. And if it gets too corporate and it's just about everything inside this box, that the art world needs to be bigger than that.
Exactly, exactly. So I think I asked almost all of my questions. If within the audience there are questions, let us ask them. Otherwise, we may wrap up. I think there are questions. Uh, will there be a place for art galleries in the art market's future?
Will there be a place for art gal? I mean, I think in the end, people are always going to want to see something in person. So as the world goes more online, I think that's going to play a bigger role. But no one's ever, I mean, look, I don't know, would you buy a Matisse painting if you've never seen a Matisse? Like, I don't know, maybe, but I think there's always going to be some aspect of a physical space.
Exactly. I mean, this is like when Kinder was discovered or presented. Everybody thought, okay, no one will buy books, but books are having
Well, and
their
look at
golden.
any industry. If you look at music, okay, artists, musicians don't make a lot of money off publishing music anymore. But how do musicians make most of their money these days? On tour. And so musicians go on tour. You could argue that, well, if I can listen to the music in my own house, why would I ever go to a concert? So I think any creative uh, endeavor output, there's always some level of intimacy that you get in person.
Exactly. So, other questions? Do we have other questions? So if not, uh, do you have any question to me?
No, I mean, I haven't even had my coffee yet, so I'm gonna go have
Okay.
coffee now.
Thank you very much for being with us and keep
Thanks
in
for
touch.
inviting me. Yeah, that was
Uh,
great.
I will send you the link for sharing with your friends and to
Oh,
keep it
great.
in your records. Thank you very much for being with us. Take care, and I hope we will meet each other in person as well. I was
Yeah,
too shy to introduce myself last year in
come
Paris.
visit us at Half Gallery.
Okay,
All
okay.
right, bye.
Take care. Bye. Okay.